Hi, I'm Jeremy Crosby.
And I'm Nick Boucher. We're your hosts for the program that's all about your city, Talking Fitchburg.
Every weekday, we pull together the news, events, and information you need to stay on top of what's happening in the city of Fitchburg.
Find Talking Fitchburg on cable TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and our live stream on the web. Plus, you can find all our headlines and stories on Facebook, YouTube, and our video on demand service. This is your city.
Keep up with Talking Fitchburg and the issues affecting you and your neighbors.
Want to know what's happening in your city? Get Notify Me messages from the City of Fitchburg. Visit fitchburgwi.gov on your computer or mobile device and select the big Notify Me button on the left. Enter your email and/or phone number, whichever is best for you to get notifications. Scroll down the list and select all the topics you're interested in to receive email or text messages about. You'll be notified every time one of your topics is updated. Sign up for Notify Me, one more way to keep up with your Fitchburg government.
Good morning. I'm Mark Hamilton. I'd like to call the December 4th meeting 2025 to order of the Community and Economic Development Authority Committee, as well as our colleagues from the Housing Commission that will also be joining us this morning. Our first order of business, since this is a CETA meeting, is to do a roll call for the CETA members. Joyce, would you do us the honors, please?
Yep. Garcia Sierra.
No, green's on. Oh. Yeah.
Okay, we'll try this again.
There we go.
Garcia Sierra, Hamilton,
Here.
Hardy, Maldonado,
Here.
Potts,
Here.
Sanders.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay.
And just an announcement, we have a new council member, Jake Lepper, and he's been appointed to CETA, but he's out of town today, but he'll be joining us in January for our meeting.
So Joyce, if you could make a note of that in the minutes, it would be appreciated. All right, our next item of business is the approval of the September 25th, 2025 minutes. Did everybody have a chance to get a look at the minutes? Are there any comments? Hearing none, we will move approval. I need a motion.
I motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Sanders, seconded by Alder Maldonado. There's no further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Do we have any public appearances for non-agenda items? Okay. Mike and Joyce, do we have any resolutions and ordinances to go over today? That answer is none. So, the next item of business on our meeting, which might be a brief one this morning, is an update from our consultants who are working on, from Redevelopment Resources, who are working on our housing update. And Ms. Kristen Fish-Peterson is here, and I will give you the floor to give the presentation.
Thank you, Mark. Is that good now? Showing appropriately? Thank you. Okay. We're back again. I think this is our third time presenting to you. The first two times we presented the results of the public input and then the results of other data gathering that we've done. So today we're going to show you things that you haven't seen before as a committee, and where we're at with the housing study, which includes, we'll show the study area definition, we'll show some demographic trends and analysis, but not everything that was in the report, because that would be a lot. And then the housing market findings, residential construction trends, we'll talk a little bit about affordability. We'll look at the demand forecast, which says how many residential units can the city support construction of over the next 10 years. And then we'll share recommendations and next steps. So We did just look at the housing within the jurisdictional boundaries of the city, and the goal there is to help better aid decision makers in the needs of the community within their control. And we are comparing to other first-tier suburbs. So we looked at Verona, Oregon, Middleton, Sun Prairie, Wanakee, DeForest, and McFarland for comparison purposes. And this slide represents the population in 2024 and then the compound annual growth of the same communities. I don't want to go too fast, so let me know if you have a question as we go. I'll just keep moving. As far as demographic trends and analysis here, we do see that you have projected to have your population increase significantly by 2050. And we also show the population broken out by age. I wanted to point out, and as I was adding this up the other day when I was preparing, you have 15% of your population over the age of 65. When you look at those 3 bars at the top, the total is 15%. So that's a good chunk of your population, and their housing needs are front and center in this report, as well as the large chunks of the population other than that 15%, but it's all important.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Not? Oh, there we go. So I also wanted to just point out that 7% of the population age 65 or older are single heads of household living alone. So that's another demographic when we look at the housing and the distribution of how those units are built.
Is that on another slide coming up?
It's not. It's in the text of the document.
Okay. Thank you. Love the data geek. She knows this stuff inside and out. So on this slide, we show married or cohabitating couple households versus single householders. So the green, the 49.1% are single householders, no spouse or partner. However, as Dana just mentioned, 7% of those are over the age of 65. And then we show a projection, a household projection trend. And we have a conservative growth scenario and a higher growth scenario shown here just for comparison purposes. It's always nice to think about what could happen in a conservative approach or a more aggressive approach, depending on. And I think this is a depending on many things, that some of which are in our control and some of which are not. When I presented a population chart to a community the other night, their population was showing that it wasn't growing. And I said, this is just what Esri thinks. You know, this doesn't have to be your reality. You don't have to accept a population decline. In your case, you can influence an aggressive population growth or not. So this is an interesting comparison slide of the other peer communities in the region that we mentioned before, and how they stack up with their percentage of owner-occupied versus renter-occupied housing. And it looks like Fitchburg compares most consistently with Madison and Middleton as far as the percentage of owner versus renter-occupied. We also have residential construction trends, new construction costs by type, between single family and two family over the last 2 years, and residential construction permit trends for Fitchburg over the, spaced out here, we have 2019, 2023, and 2024. And then we want to talk a minute about affordability, and I might let Dana lead this one if you don't mind.
Okay. I'm going to kind of just hang over your shoulder then for just a second. So the fair market rent column is based on HUD numbers for each of the different types of bedroom sizes. And then the annual income needed, also, that came from the National Low Income Housing Coalition, based on the fair market rent value times 3, approximately, and 12. But anyway, and then I looked at, okay, so of those income ranges, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics for Dane County, what occupations have incomes within that range, just so that we can help kind of start to personify the types of households, single or married, that can afford these different units. So that's like how we're kind of starting to structure of like, I think on the next slide, I kind of did it, or I know in the text I did like if there are 2 households competing for a 2-bedroom unit, because there's only one available that's affordable to them, then one of them's either going to have to find an alternative living arrangement, whether it's like find a roommate or live with their parents a little longer, or rent a unit that isn't quote unquote affordable. They're going to be a cost burdened household because they're going to be spending more than 30% of their income on that unit. And then, yeah, just the housing ladder graphic by Kronberg Urbanist Architects. We really like their material. So this is like that, talks about that housing competition. And particularly even like with the fair or the market rate units at the top, if there's not enough for them, then they buy down, and that kicks those units that were affordable for that income bracket down, and then it's like a big squeeze.
This slide just explains further what Dana was talking about. If 2 people are looking at the same unit and there's only one available, and it shows how many units are available in those income brackets in Fitchburg right now. There's really limited inventory. So we get to the demand forecast. This is the kind of the nut where it all comes together. We put a lot of different factors into this number or these numbers, and in the report we delineate the numbers that we use to plug in to arrive at these numbers. We use a factor of employment growth, a factor of household growth, a factor of pent-up demand, and population growth, and a vacancy rate. We want to always make sure that we care for a vacancy rate. If we don't plan vacancy or account for that, there's not going to be choice for people, as we just talked about in the last 2 slides. So this is where we've kind of made the balance, and this is where it becomes part science and part art. But we've created a table for the rental housing demand showing 2 different categories, affordable or senior, and market rate. So a total of 775 units over the next, 5 years, Dana? Of rental housing, and then 1,200 units of owner-occupied housing. And those would be in the affordable workforce categories and market rate, split out by the number of bedrooms per category.
You said this is a 5-year forecast?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Could you, I don't know if you're still kind of tweaking this, but maybe put that somewhere on that page?
Well, it's in the report.
This
is just, we can certainly include it in the presentation, but
Yeah,
it's
okay.
definitely in the report.
Okay, perfect.
There's a lot more meat in there.
Yeah.
We were just trying to keep it high level for talking points at this conversation level right now, but.
So that again is a 5 years, so 1,205 for owner occupied over 5 years. So we'd be at 241 annually.
Yes,
Okay.
it's a lot.
And that's whether it's single family or whether it's multifamily ownership as far as it could be townhome units, duplexes.
Correct. So
all of the
yes,
above.
single owner attached, single owner detached, yes.
Yep.
But owner
Okay.
occupied.
Yep. Thank you.
We sometimes further break it down, but at that point it gets to be really art
Yeah.
and less science.
And we tried to keep it what we thought was realistic. You can, if more land becomes available, there's probably going to be demand there. I know the Dane County Housing, Regional Housing Study recommended more units per year for Fitchburg, but after our more in-depth analysis, these were the numbers that we came up with.
Yeah, I think what Dane County did was they took a number countywide and then just split it up. But we've studied Fitchburg now for the last several months. We know your challenges with finding land. We know some of your other constraints. We know opportunities for you. And really, you hired us to dial it in better than just... Yeah, so we did apply that science to these numbers and feel like this is more of a realistic estimate. The thing I always say about housing demand, though, is, you have constant construction here in Fitchburg, and it feels like your permits are, we get the report from Lorene on a regular basis, and there's numbers there that I'm just amazed that it's continuing to be built. The market, will slow down, it'll pick up, it'll slow down, it'll pick up, but as soon as those units are slower to be absorbed, the developers react to that. So the market is your very sensitive touch point on these numbers. So we'll go into the recommendations now. We have, I think, 4 goals, maybe, and objectives and recommendations under each, which are much more detailed in the report. This is high level for the presentation today. The first goal is to ensure safe, quality, and affordable housing for all residents. It's a high level goal. The objective under that for number 1 is to preserve and improve the existing housing stock. So we have recommendations in the report about creating a homeowner rehabilitation program, a renter property improvement program, rental property or rental rehab program, and a housing, and really to keep that focus on housing quality code enforcement. That is, you only have so much existing housing stock and you really need to preserve that. So that's what this first objective addresses. The second objective is to support residents' ability to enter and remain in home ownership. We heard a lot from our meetings with residents and landlords and senior folks that we want to help people enter home ownership and stay in it. So there's a down payment assistance program recommendation that's very clearly outlined in the document, a financial readiness workshop, and then we heard the suggestion to partner with United Way to have some United Way 211 kiosks installed, but the underlying comments around that recommendation were that people don't know what's all available for resources out there, and how can we get more information out to people about what's available as far as resources for not just home ownership, but preventing homelessness. Before you become homeless, there's a significant number of comments that kind of alarmed me about the fact that there's really no help until you are homeless. And that's kind of frustrating. The second goal is to expand the housing supply to meet future demand and affordability needs. So this goes back to our demand table. The first objective, to increase production of diverse housing types, including incentivizing those in the missing middle, that everything between a single-family detached unit and a high-density multifamily development. So it would be duplexes, triplexes, quads, townhomes, cottage courts, that kind of thing. Incentivizing that. Also put some money towards affordable housing development, and that's outlined in the report. And then a recommendation to review the development fees. The second objective is to enable strategic land readiness and assembly, and that is addressing that land availability. So we talk about a land banking program. If there's an opportunity for the city to buy land and it makes sense for future residential development, that would be a good thing for the city to do. Also, keep an inventory of what's publicly owned and available, and publicize that to developers and other builders. A site readiness initiative is recommended, and development pre-approval zones. And we're seeing more and more where, and I even know somebody who created an entire booklet of small homes that are older, or not older, but they fit in older neighborhoods. And it's a book of housing plans that have been developed. And if a city could pre-approve those plans and kind of promote that these plans are ready to go, infill development in older neighborhoods, that's where you could get, if you have empty lots in mid-block, or on a block of existing
It's
homes.
like the Sears catalog from
Right.
the 19
Yeah.
whatevers, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a few communities do it. South Bend, Indiana is one with the incremental development initiative. But there's a gentleman who used to work for the city of Oshkosh, now works for the city of Sheboygan, showed me a book that he published in Oshkosh. So it's public information of small home designs that fit on infill lots that look like the neighborhood.
So Mike, if I could step in here, since Jenny did, before you go on, the land banking program, does the city have an appetite for getting into this? I mean, it's been mentioned up a number of occasions, but we've never really done a deep dive in it. That's my first question. Second is, how many acres should it be? You talk about a house size, or should it be multitudes of acres for a big development? I mean, what are your thoughts here as the economic development director?
I think the approach that we've been thinking of with the land banking is we do have, is it 2 million identified for that in our, with our 10.5 that we have, right now. But the approach that we've been thinking of is how do we leverage our dollars and partner with other entities like a Habitat for Humanity or Community Land Trust, where they would actually go out and acquire the property, and we would leverage our dollars with resources that they've gotten allocated from Dane County. So that's been our initial thoughts of how to approach a program, like that. As far as publicly owned land, the only spot that we really have at this point in time is the sod farm there on the west of Highway 14. That was going to be for a regional stormwater to serve Uptown. They figured out how to accommodate stormwater on site. We're waiting for them to finalize that agreement between the developers and the property owners. Once we know that that agreement is memorialized, that might be one area that we then would go through some kind of RFP process and make that available for entities to respond to a request for proposal. And that could be some of those partners again, like a Habitat, Community Land Trust, tiny homes people, or it could be just straight up a private residential developer that comes forward with a proposal and plan. There. So it's in its infancy. I think the key question for us is just staff capacity and expertise for something like that. I know some of our elected officials have pointed to things that the city of Madison has done, but the city of Madison has a full real estate department. They've got a full city attorney office. They've got a significant number more people in community development, economic development, redevelopment, and everything there. So it's what is our capacity to do a program and manage a program like that?
I think one thing I would offer or recommend in that scenario is maybe what the recommendation should be is be ready. And go through scenarios in practice. Let's just say 40 acres comes available and it's a strategic purchase or a strategic acquisition that you think would be good for the city. If we could outline the steps of the process that you would have to take to go through acquiring it and getting it ready and making it available, just so you're ready to do that. Because you never know when a property is going to come. Maybe a landowner is going to come to you and say, I have owned this land forever. I see it as housing. I want to make sure I don't make a mistake in selling it, and all of a sudden you're going, okay, let's go.
Yeah. I think right now what we've been doing is quietly matching up or connecting developers with property owners that have available parcels there. One thing we've talked about collectively is, could there be a scenario where we have a willing and a cooperative property owner that maybe would work with us, where we weren't necessarily acquiring the property, but we would collaboratively work with them to issue an RFP with some goals that align with not only the current zoning but future land use, and then kind of cast the net and see what responses we get from the private sector. There's one particular spot here in Fitchburg that we've been talking about probably after the first of the year. We want to sit down and have those conversations with property owners and see if that would be an exercise that we could go through without having to go and actually acquire, the property, and kind of find our way and kind of learn, a little bit as we go through an exercise or a process like that.
I didn't mean to sidetrack this, but I think this may get asked by our city leaders as this goes forward. So, Okay, thanks.
I just want to add, in our Housing Advisory Committee, we've actually done a deep dive and tried to look at the parameters for the RFP process. So we've kind of split up in groups and kind of looked at different ways that we can improve the plan. So it's something that we're actively working on.
Sorry.
So on goal 3, to promote equitable access and neighborhood stability, the first objective would be to maintain affordability and prevent displacement. So identifying, creating, or enhancing, if it's already existing, a housing stability fund. I guess that one is new, a new recommendation. We heard from people that there's down payment assistance, but there's nothing for rental, like security deposit assistance, or if you're in the middle of a lease and you're going to be short for a month or two, is there a place they could come for support to get through that rough time? So a housing stability fund, and then further work toward neighborhood revitalization. Objective 3 is to align housing with transportation and employment access. So looking at transit-oriented development nodes and employer-assisted housing partnerships. In the employment-assisted housing partnerships, this would be an opportunity for an employer to support or enhance the down payment assistance program that the city might already, when you get that up and running, they might say, for our employees of our company, let's just say Nabisco is here, and just keep it anonymous so we don't call out a real name. They're going to throw another $10,000 per first-time home buyer to the down payment assistance program for their employees. That's happened in other communities. I know in Wausau, Colby and Colby Windows partners with the city and makes a match of an additional $5,000 for any of their employees that want to buy a house in the community. So goal 4 is to strengthen collaboration and capacity to deliver housing solutions, and that's building partnerships and coordinating among public, private, and nonprofit stakeholders. So taking the recommendations from this study and actually having some oversight on them, whether it's CETA or the housing, but an implementation task force for this product, this document. And then creating a public-private development toolkit is also a recommendation. And then the final objective is to maintain ongoing data and performance tracking so that you have an annual housing dashboard and a policy review schedule to be looking at these things in between housing studies, not just when you get to the next housing study. So our final steps, we're in final draft stage now. We're definitely taking feedback on everything that we've published so far from your committee, from the housing group that the steering committee, the housing study steering committee. We'll also be including resident personas, as Dana mentioned, kind of examples of how Bob and Sue go through the process of finding housing, or what happens to them as they look for housing in this market. We do have a development fee scenario comparison with other communities we're tweaking, but this is not the final document that you're seeing now. The final document will have all the graphics that we have. It'll be a fully graphically designed document, And all the survey results will be in the appendix, and then there will be spatial representation of existing housing stock and pending projects. So we have some more details to put into it, but this is the bulk that we're seeking feedback on now.
Okay, thank you. Do our committee members or our guests that are also on here from the Housing Committee, do we have any comments or more feedback for Kristen and Dana?
I can stop sharing.
Okay, hearing none, then we will thank you for your presentation and appreciate the hard work you're doing. And it's been a pleasure so far. So good luck on getting the finished product getting it to the finish line.
Thank you.
Just a question, housekeeping question. If members delve into it more and have comments and feedback, when would you like that by? And should we coordinate that through Lorene? That if members have some things that they think about after this meeting that they want to ask questions on or provide feedback and input, what's kind of the timing for your process there?
I think about 2 weeks, if that's realistic. Then that gives us time to wrap it up before it's due in January to present to the council.
Okay.
So if it's the 4th now, I mean, if we could have feedback for sure by the 19th.
Okay. And to help with that, I think I would encourage committee members to send that to Lorene.
Yes, please.
As the clearinghouse for us. Okay. And then Lorene can get that to you guys for it. Okay.
Okay, thank you. If there's no further comments, we will excuse you folks, or you can stay for the rest of the meeting. And we will move on to the hotel room tax report. Joyce, you gave us a handout, and I'll turn it over to you. Oh, Mike, I'll turn it over to Mike.
Oh, okay. Let me just...
And I see there's a request on here for Get Festive, so
yeah,
you got the floor.
So we've got the third quarter room tax is in, and it came in at $179,057, which is approximately just shy of an 11% increase, which was very positive. I think the influence factor there were the concerts that we're at Camp Randall and everything with some of the because we're still hearing from Destination Madison and Angela that the market is still trending kind of flat, overall. But I think those are a couple of unique things that sold out the inventory in the city here, and I think AC/DC is coming in 26, so hopefully we'll have a good bump again from some concerts this next year there. So. But yeah, so a good positive, and I think we'll end up with a good year and everything here. But we shouldn't get too overconfident that things are rebounding in the marketplace, especially with business and corporate travel there. Yeah, and then the new hotel I think should be opening either later this month or definitely in January, and that'll be the 100-room Spring Hill Suites on Nesbitt Road. So we're excited about that.
Okay.
And then we've got the room tax request from the chamber for $3,500 to support the Get Festive kind of light and holiday event coming up here on the 12th. And so last year we provided, we were thinking it was $5,000 for the expanded kind of holiday light. So Angela didn't need quite as much money this year, but we would appreciate support, motion and support for that event.
I would make that motion.
I'll second.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, Mike.
Okay, thank you.
Proceed.
Appreciate it. And just a reminder that event is next week, Friday.
Yeah.
On the 12th, I think, kicking off at around 4 o'clock over there. So please join us. And for the public, everybody's welcome to attend that as well.
Okay. Moving forward, economic development and committee member reports. You guys have the floor.
And you might have seen Fitchburg had some good publicity in the State Journal the last couple of days. One on the hub. The ribbon cutting for that was on Monday, November 24th. And then as you can see next door to us, the police facility construction is well underway. There's so some major public infrastructure in our community. So those things are exciting to see. We had the Forward Fitchburg City in Motion kickoff on Thursday, November 20th. So we had a really good launch of that activity. Vanderwall will continue to work on kind of the research and data information gathering, and then we're looking at the first strategy team meeting with that group on Thursday, January 15th. So that process will continue to move forward. One element of that kind of piggybacks on the housing plan is there's going to be a developer roundtable as part of Forward Fitchburg, where we bring the development community together, and we just kind of have a really good conversation with them about what's working well in Fitchburg, where are there opportunities for systems improvements and everything. As you know, we've made some significant strides. Fitchburg, due to Deanna and her team, was ranked the most efficient as far as moving projects through the development and entitlement pipeline and everything. So kudos to them. We've launched the weekly development team meetings that are available for a one-stop shop with all departments. We've got E-Plan with a turnaround of 15 to 20 days for permits, and then we've got everything's online now, so you don't have to come into City Hall to submit applications and for permits and things like that. So you can do that from home at 24/7, 365. So a lot of those things have really helped, but it's always good to just kind of have conversations and see if there's other recommendations and ideas. So we'll be working with Vanderwall on that as part of that process. As you might have heard, UW Health had the groundbreaking, so that project is getting going for the 40-bed rehabilitation hospital in Uptown Fitchburg. And then quietly, we've got 4 TIF requests that are out there. We've been keeping our financial advisors, Ellers, very busy. So we've got TIF requests from General Beverage for a future warehouse expansion off of Cottonwood Drive that needs some support for soil stabilization and some other public improvements over there that then would lead to a future warehouse expansion. So we're kind of winding through the final details of that one, and then we'll bring that forward to the council. We've got one from Jacob Klein for the senior housing development that he's proposed along Nesbitt Road over there called Oak Ridge. So Ellers is working on that analysis. And then Joyce and I have been working closely with Sam and Melissa Ross from the UPS store, who purchased the property at 2917 Fish Hatchery Road, the Quonset hut up there, and have encouraged them to look at a complete redevelopment versus just kind of a facade renovation of a 50-year-old building. So we've got some information on that. And then Joyce is working closely with them on the possibility for a community development investment grant from WEDC that they might be able to qualify for as well. So we're excited about that. If that comes forward, instead of it just being a one-story building, they would do a 2-story building with commercial space on the first floor and then 11 to 14 apartments on the second floor there, which really aligns well with our North Fish Hatchery Road vision up there. And then the last TID one that we have is we have the Fairchild Group. Mark Fairchild used to serve on this group, local developer. He's taken up the development project on the Cleanfill site, the Fawside property that you've heard us talk about between Highway 14 and MM. And that would have approximately 325 multifamily rental units, 20 townhome owner units, about 34 single-family lots over there. And then we connected him to Trilogy Health Services that would do a continuum of living and care facility. I want to say that would be about 119 units. And that was everything from independent to assisted to memory care to also skilled nursing. They're out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. So they've got all of their information into Ellers. They're working closely with Deanna and her team to go through the entitlement and approval process. But this is kind of hopefully the third time is the charm here. Okay. We've had 2 previous developers that the project didn't materialize. So we're hoping that this one all comes comes together, but they're making good progress, and we're hopeful on that one. Then we've been still in communication with our friends on the west side across from Super Target with Jamestown Quarry, trying to hold that one together. It's still a tough environment to make the economics work with construction costs, interest rates, and everything at this point in time. But we're continuing to work with that developer to keep that one moving forward. On Tuesday night at the council, there's a minor comp plan amendment to allow another multifamily, one of the Texas wrap buildings that has the parking structure in the middle, and then the apartment units wrap around it. The first one is under construction there north of Fitchburg Road where it veers to the east. So hopefully that could support at the council on Tuesday night. That would help from, again, kind of putting the whole economics together for that overall project and bring another 270 market rate units there on the north end where it abuts the...
So the second apartment.
There would be a second building over there.
Replacing other plans for that? No, it's just in addition to everything?
In addition,
that's planned over
yeah.
there? Okay.
What the future land use allowed over there was it could have been all commercial from north to south, or it still allowed that there could have been additional residential.
Okay.
So they've decided to go with kind of 2/3 commercial, and then the northern third hopefully would be another higher density multifamily Texas wrap building, up there. So, and I think those are kind of the major things that are out there with stuff. Any questions on any projects going on, or Joyce, you have anything? Okay.
First, I want to thank everyone for their help at the business luncheon.
Yeah.
We haven't met since then, so just wanted to share my appreciation for everyone who came out and gave a hand. We have received a lot of positive feedback about the event and the panelists, so couldn't have done it without your assistance.
And I just want to give a shout out to Joyce for organizing that event. We've gotten really good positive comment with some people that have come to that event for years that said this was kind of the best one ever with the format and everything for it. And that's, reflective of Joyce's work and creativity and putting everything together.
Joyce, I've heard the same
goes seamlessly. Yeah,
It's a team. It's just not me.
Compliments
So,
to her.
and then I kind of wanted to go back to the city in motion. I did print out the slides that Vandewall presented because there is some fantastic information in there. Mike should be extremely proud of the work that he's done. The statistics in comparison to some of our peer communities are amazing. And then I also printed out some of the survey results. So if you wanted to take a look at that, feel free to stop by and grab the documents. And then I also want to give an update on the Efficiency Navigator program. We're starting to wind down with the weatherization, and then we'll just have the windows left. So I am meeting tomorrow with Elevate. Yeah, tomorrow's Friday. To talk about the energy savings. I've seen some preliminary reports, and I think we're all going to be very pleased with not only the savings to our residents, but also the goals that are coming forward for the sustainability plan.
Regarding the windows, are they going to be able to get them in kind of this winter still, or do they work in the freezing cold, or will they have to wait till spring?
Yeah, I think that they're going to try and get them in. It's all based on contractor time, when the windows come, so yeah.
And that was one of the key recommendations in the 2019 housing plan, and you see it rising to the top here as far as reinvesting in that older multifamily, naturally occurring affordable housing stock that we have.
And then I guess my last comment will be, remember to shop local. Dane Buy Local was out here and did a press conference over at Ward Brott, which was really pretty cool. They had the Dane County Executive and then all the local chambers, and it was really neat just to get the statistics, and I took pictures if anybody's interested about, dollars spent locally versus nationally, and, how much more stays here than if you go to a national retailer. So that was interesting. And then my last thing is I wanted to congratulate Mike. I don't know if any of you know, but he is celebrating his 30th year here as the Economic Development Director. From someone who's worked here for a few less years than him, I can tell you the transformation of this community is phenomenal. He's taken a township and really formed it into a really great city of the 21st century. So let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you. I think it takes a team, so everybody here has helped in that endeavor, so it wouldn't be accomplished without all of you.
I don't know if it's good or bad, but I've known him for 30 years. So Joyce, there's one more. Do you send out an invitation next week for the Fitchburg Focus? You want to give some info on that to the? Did you send it to the whole CETA?
I try and catch all those events that are going on just to let you guys know. I really don't know a lot about.
Okay, so it's not ours. It's to the city. Okay.
No, it's a chamber event, and they're the ones who kind of pick the topic, and I just like to keep you guys in the know of what's going on.
That explains why I got it twice. Okay, I just was looking at my calendar and it bounced up again. So, okay, thank you. Yes, Mike.
I got two more things that I thought of here. One is tomorrow, you're all welcome to join us for Gigi's Playhouse groundbreaking at 2 o'clock. That's over in Hartung Fields, right there at Lacey Road and Sain Road. We will be the home of their new headquarters and facility. They provide services to families with individuals with Down syndrome. So we're excited to see that project moving forward over there in Hartung Fields. So if you can come out for that, that would be great. And then I also wanted to let you know that our partner at our Fitchburg Chamber Visitor Business Bureau, who again has helped transform this community over the last 20-some years, Angela Kinderman, is nominated and one of the finalists for Executive of the Year through In Business magazine. So that event is going to be next week, Thursday, November 11th, at Monona Terrace, December 11th. Yeah, sorry, I'm a month behind here. And so congratulations to Angela and her team. They've that organization, has been just a great private sector partner and has done so many great things in our community. So well-deserved recognition and honor for our partner, Angela.
Okay, thank you. Joyce, anything? Oh, Lorraine?
You got anything to report out?
Yes, on November 13th, we had our funders forum. That was really awesome for down payment assistance. So we invited lenders, nonprofit organizations, staff members, and community members to kind of just discuss the infancy stages of the down payment assistance. We also had a panel of specialists. So we had Bill Cole from Greater Smart Madison that moderated it, and then we had panelists, Chad Lawler, Executive Director of Madison Area Builders Association, Tiffany Malone from Alvarado Group, and then also Olivia Perry from Dane County Regional Housing, and really kind of discussed the importance of down payment assistance from their lens. I think it was really a great conversation. We had over 30 plus attendees, and we got a lot of feedback. So that we'll use that feedback to kind of improve the down payment assistance program. So that was kind of the biggest thing. Mm-hmm. And then I don't know if you talked about the WIDA conference that we also attended. So great sessions. One that I really enjoyed was on tax credits. One, just because I'm still learning a little bit more about what it is from a developer's lens of what they have to go through. And they were just kind of talking about some of the changes. Efficiency is kind of one of the biggest things where that used to be a big focus, where now not such a big focus when trying to develop a project. So those were kind of the major things. And obviously, the housing plan has been a big focus.
Thank you, Lorraine. Anything else from the group? Okay, I've got one announcement as we get to the year end here before we move for adjournment. I want to thank this group of staff, Lorraine, Mike, Joyce, for the work they've done this year. I also want to thank the members of CETA for putting in the time to make us be an effective group. And I think all these things you're sharing are all good things that are going to move our city forward. So I'd like a round of applause for the three of you to thank you for what you've done for us. And there's only three of us here to clap, but anyway. So,
thank you.
Again, it's been a great year. I've had a lot of fun enjoying doing this. It's good to work with great staff like this as well, and the neat things that we're doing and committee members. So, if there's nothing else, our next meeting is January 22nd. Oh, you got one more.
I just thought of one other thing that I just should announce here, just because we've been working on it quietly, and it's with the hotel room tax as part of the 2026 budget. There, our hotel room tax rate increase was approved. So we will be increasing the rate effective January 1st from 7% to 8% for it. And so other peer communities here, and so we are working, Joyce and I are working closely with the finance department. That doesn't just happen magically, so we have to work through systems and processes. So we'll be sending out notifications to our hotel properties as well as the online booking and reservation systems to get the word out, so that way that happens seamlessly on January 1st.
Okay,
So.
all right, thank you. Yep. Anything else?
I guess I got one more. Any of you are welcome to join me tomorrow over at the Urban League Black Business Hub. Dane County is having a kind of a showcase of resources for entrepreneurs, and we were invited to come out, so I'll be there from 11 to 2 if anybody would like to join.
Joyce, you have a busy day tomorrow.
Yeah. Every day, Mark.
Okay. Thank you very much for all that feedback and input. It's been a great year, as I said, and I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Moved by Alderman Maldonado. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Sanders. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, we are adjourned. Everybody have a great holiday, and we'll see you at some of these upcoming events.